Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode in our AEW What If series in TEW2020. Uh, it is another week of Dynamite, the fourth week of July in 2020, that is. And we are 6 weeks away. After this, we have 5 more Dynamites until All Out. So we will have to see what happens as we continue the build. And see what all is happening with everything going on this week. We open things up from 4,344 people at our usual home in the DB Mile field with a 76 rated promo from Jon Moxley. Mox comes out to the ring and says that Jay Lethal proved himself to be a coward by sending out Cage and having that attack happen, having Cage and Miro attack Pac and Mox. But Lethal can sit there and try to get everybody to attack Moxley ahead of their eventual title match. All he wants, he won't be able to run from Jon Moxley. 76 rating, as it is clear that Mox wants a piece of Lethal and that AEW World Championship. Then we have a 58 rated matchup. Didn't seem to click, so that kind of sucks. But Matt Sydal defeats Wheeler Yuta in 822 by pinfall with an aftershock. Of course, Matt Sydal kind of in that weird spot right now where he's still really great in the ring, but he couldn't get the job done in an eliminator matchup against Jay Lethal. So he can't get a shot at the world title that Jay Lethal has right now. So he's just kind of got to figure out what's next for him. So he has a match here, fights Wheeler Yuta, and unfortunately, they don't have great chemistry. But Sydal does pick up the victory, so we'll have to see if he can kind of keep himself at least near the top. Or, if Mox ends up winning the title, then he'll be able to get himself a shot, kind of thing. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. Then after that, tag team action sees the Dark Order defeat the Prisoners of War in 8:07 when Grayson pinned Macklin with a fatality. 59 rating for the match. So Grayson carried the match. He had a 67. He also has a gimmick in stale, so I have to remember that. But Grayson and Uno with the victory here. Former tag team champions still looking strong against another tag team here in AEW. Then we go backstage. And Kairi Hojo is cutting a promo. And up next is going to be a Thunder Rock tag team matchup. Io Shirai and Mayu Iwatani, part 2 members of 3 Elite. But the third member of 3 Elite, Kairi Hojo, is backstage. And she says that she's made it clear that she wants a match with Davina. And Davina doesn't seem to want to step up and issue the challenge. So Kairi's going to be the one that steps up and issues the challenge. She's challenging Davina to a singles matchup at All Out. So we'll have to see what Davina has to say about that. But 51 rating, not too bad for a Kairi Hojo promo. But there you go. So we'll have to see if that ends up becoming official for All Out or not. Then Thunder Rock go to the ring and they defeat Chris Statlander and Martina in 10-11 when Io Shirai pinned Martina with a double moonsault double foot stomp. 52 rating for the match, not too bad. Stat seemed off her game. She had a 41, 42 from Martina, 53 from Mayu, and 52 from Io. Of course, Stat and Martina, both members of the Best Friends. And, recently we saw Martina and the rest of the Best Friends trying to cheer Stat up. So this was another attempt to try to cheer Stat up, but unfortunately they didn't get the win. So, gotta imagine that Stat's not going to be too cheered up again after this. But Thunder Rock in the victory. Hopefully continuing 3 Elite's momentum against Mercedes and Davina right now. Then we have a 78 rated segment as, unlike the open challenge that is we have to wait to hear about, we do have our first official match for All Out in 5 weeks' time. Well, now it's 6 weeks' time, technically. As Steven Regal makes it official that the Young Bucks will be going and defending the AEW World Tag Team titles against Penta and Phoenix, the Lucha Bros, at All Out. So that should be an interesting matchup. We don't know for sure if it's going to be, just a regular tag match or what, but so there you go. 78 rating for that, as we are getting the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros for the AEW World Tag Team titles at All Out. That should be one hell of a contest there. Then after that, MJF defeats Hangman Adam Page in 10:29 by submission with a Salt of the Earth after interference from Wardlow. Hangman actually outperformed MJF in this, which is kind of weird because normally he wouldn't be, but I'll take it. Of course, to be fair, these two are kind of right near each other, but as you see, there's a storyline that started here. Wonder what that could be. But Wardlow provided interference in the matchup and caused Hangman to end up losing. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with that heading forward. 55 rating for that. After that, we have Claudio Castagnoli backstage, when Chris Jericho approaches him. Of course, last week, Chris Jericho was turned on by Sammy Guevara, who decided to side with Jake Hager. It was a 2-on-1 beatdown, and Claudio came to his aid. Jericho says, I don't know why you helped me out last week, but I appreciate it. Claudio says, honestly, I just want to fight. I'm here in AEW to fight, and seems like I can get a fight here. So, not really like any sort of friendship or anything like that, but Claudio just wants to fight. And so he's getting involved in this fight, I guess. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with that, but 63 rating, as Jericho seems to have an ally against Hager and Guevara. We'll have to see what ends up happening with that. Then we get a 64 rated matchup that sees El Generico defeat the Blade in 14-11 by pinfall to Brainbuster. Kind of a big deal because the Blade's, that's only like the Blade's like 4th or 5th loss in AEW, in the history of the company so far. But he takes a loss. He did. There is slight, blame there though, because of course Zema Ion of the Thrill Seekers caused a distraction. The issues between the Thrill Seekers and the Dark Order continue with this. But El Generico does get the victory here over the Blade. Tyler Black joined the commentary table and was running down Generico the whole time during the matchup, but Generico does get the victory. So looks like whatever Tyler Black had to say was kind of proven wrong, because Generico did get the win. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with those two in the future, with Generico and Black, that is. And obviously, got to imagine that Blade and the rest of the Dark Order are going to be looking for a little bit of revenge after the Zema Ion cost him that matchup here. 64 is not too bad for that match either. We got Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes backstage. And it's basically just kind of a short little segment where Brandy just says, hey, you know what? You got to move on. It's time to move on from Jonathan Fatu. I'm back here. I'm back to managing you. We're going to move on to different things. And Cody agrees with her. So that's the end of the storyline. I know it's kind of a deflated ending to the storyline, but to be fair, I was hoping that Fatu was going to get better, and he really hasn't. Both from an entertainment standpoint and a wrestling standpoint. Wrestling, he's not too bad in the ring. But entertainment-wise, he hasn't really been getting better in all the promos time that I've been giving him. So I'm kind of moving both of them into different things heading forward. But so Cody Rhodes looking to move on. Of course, he is in the rankings for the world title. So maybe that's where he'll kind of turn his attention to, is trying to get himself a shot at the AEW World Championship. We'll have to see. Then, in a non-title matchup, our AEW Women's World Champion Alexa Kaufman defeats Karen Q in 9:07 by pinfall to Dazzler. 51 rating for the match. Not great, honestly. I gotta be honest. Kaufman's, I like Alexis Kaufman, aka Alexa Bliss. I do like her, but in this match, she's kind of not quite becoming. I mean, granted, it's only been like 6 months or so that I've had her. Maybe a little bit longer. But like she hasn't really been improving a whole lot during that time, despite the fact that I've obviously been giving her a bit of a push. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what's gonna happen with her as the rest of 2020 goes on. But she does get the win here. Still the Women's World Champion, of course. Ashley Lane. The commentators are kind of talking about the issues there. Kaufman doesn't have the championship right now. It's still in the possession of Ashley Lane. But we'll have to see. The commentators kind of talking about that and talking about Kaufman wanting to get that championship back. And we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. But 51 rating here. Could have been better. See, that's the thing too. She gets a lot of bonuses too. So like if she didn't have all these bonuses, she'd be even worse in the ring. That's what's kind of a little scary. But it is what it is. Speaking of, Ashley Lane comes out after the match. And she's bragging about being the champion. She says that she's going to be the greatest AEW Women's World Champion of all time. And before she's even really able to say much else, Alexis Kaufman bails out of the ring and immediately runs up the ramp, chasing her into the backstage area. So this is like a 1-minute segment, basically. It's just her coming out. She's like, I am your Women's World Champion, and I'm the greatest Women's World Champion of all. And then she just stops and drops the mic and turns around and runs away because Kaufman's immediately chasing after her. So 50 rating here for that. Then our main event gets 78 rating. Kenny Omega has gimmick the skin sale as well. So that's Grayson and Omega that both have a gimmick the skin sale. I have to remember that. As Kenny Omega defeats Miro in 14-14 by pinfall to V-Trigger. Thanks to distraction from Pac on Miro. 78 rating. Miro the 73. Kenny Omega with 68. Miro outperformed Kenny Omega. My God. I mean, granted, Kenny Omega's looking stale, so that might have been part of it. But, like, my God. Well, but Miro's got a poor gimmick, so, I mean, that kind of defeats that as well. So, yeah, Miro's outperforming Kenny Omega right now. But Kenny Omega gets the victory over Miro, thanks to Pac getting his distraction there. And afterwards, as Miro and Pac are brawling on the ramp stage area, Adam Cole hits the ring and lays out Kenny Omega standing tall at the end of Dynamite. 66 rated segment. Good stuff there. Dynamite gets 74. I'll take it. I will take it for sure. Especially since there was only 3 segments that were higher than that rating. There was only 3 segments that were higher than a 70 on the show. And it was the main event match, the Steven Regal tag title match announcement, and then Moxley's promo. And we got a 74 out of it. So I will gladly take that. I will gladly take that. But there you go. Another episode of Dynamite in the books. And then we're going to be heading into August 2020, where we are on the build to All Out. Obviously, probably some matches still to come to become official. We just got to get to those points, or get to that point itself, and we'll have to see. But yeah, we'll have to see how everything plays out. Will we get an answer from Davina regarding the challenge directed towards her? Will we hear from Jay Lethal regarding being called a coward by Moxley? And will we hear from a lot of other things? There is a lot of... I keep forgetting that this mod has, like, a ton of workers that it processes every time, so that's why I'm, like, rambling a little bit as the screen goes on. I mean, yeah, there's, a lot of decent storylines going on. But like I said, I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to look at a few people, because like I said, Alexis Kaufman is kind of one that's struggling a little bit. Because, like, at least some of my other women are getting better. I mean, Davina and Mercedes are, like, 2 of the top women in the company right now. But, like, Britt Baker is getting better as time has gone on. She's not quite on Kaufman's level yet, but she has been getting better. There's a lot of other, like, Sheeta, Kaylee Ray, the 3 Elite are starting to get there. A lot of other people that are, like, right there to where it's almost where Kaufman is kind of not quite as good. Tenille Dashwood is hanging around there still too, where it's like, she's not quite as good as, like, a bunch of other people around her kind of thing. And so it's like, I need you to step it up kind of thing, I need you to step it up because you're kind of not doing great right now. Which, again, I like her, but I mean, you can see here. So her popularity in a year's time has only gone up 6 points, despite the fact that she's the champ. It jumped up 5 points from April to May when she won the title, but then it's kind of stagnated from there. She's kind of back up to about 46s right now. Skill-wise, she's got 61 psychology. That really hasn't moved up a whole lot. You know, some of her in-ring skills, I don't know where the hell that jump happened. What happened there? But I mean, some of these other in-ring skills, you know, they just haven't really been having it there. She's well known by the fans right now, but she's, you know, if I go and look, let me set this up really quick. Do this, that. Just want to look really quick to. Okay, there's nobody that'd be spoiled. So, I mean, if you see here, you know, she's got white hot momentum. She is at the top of this list, technically, you know, right now. But, like, Davina and the Bunny are right there as well-known talents as well. Lane, Baker, Sheeta, Kyrie, Kaylee Ray, Mayu, Mercedes. Mercedes was well-known just a little bit ago, so maybe she lost a little bit of popularity. Mia Yim, Riho, Rosemary, Tennille Dashwood, Thea Trinidad, who's basically just here as a manager anyway, and Zaya Brooks. We got Zaya Brookside up to recognizable, by the way. But I mean, you know, there's a bunch of them there that are just like, those are ones that, you know, of the ones I just listed, probably a good portion of them are starting to, you know, are continuing to get better in the ring and starting to look a little bit better. So, but it's what it is. You know, it's what it is. Dustin Rhodes has hung up his boots. He is no longer an active wrestler. He is retired at this point. He works for us on a handshake deal. We're not using him as managers. We're just using him behind the scenes as a road agent. So that's, you know, whatever to me. Casey McKnight suffered a strained rotator cuff. That would have been, yeah, he's still with NXT right now. Would have been. Wait, what? Am I blind? Maybe it was a house show. I was gonna say, because I don't see where he got hurt. Maybe it was a house show. Yeah, whatever. NXT still had more viewers. We had 824,000 viewers this week, but we had the better rated show. NXT had a 64, as we just saw there. NXT UK had a 53. So, you know, it continues on with trying to have more viewers than NXT, despite not having a lot of success with it. I've mentioned before that I wasn't really going to go through dark stuff that much. I could possibly just do this at the end of these episodes, so you can at least see what might be happening, what's kind of happening on dark. But honestly, like, you know, it's the reason why the ratings are so bad is because it's all just unimportant talents fighting each other. And so the crowd is like, we don't care about this, blah, blah, blah. So that's what's happening there. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. Definitely appreciate it. And we will catch you in a future video.